Hi guys, welcome to week 4. I'm going to walk you through most of this video is going to be walking you through your next step in your project. So far so good. I haven't had a chance to look at all of your projects yet, but I'm excited to do that over the next week, and you will continue to get feedback from me. A couple reminders for you before I kind of jump into this week's assignment. Number 1, file naming conventions are really important. Not only are they important in this class because that's the rule, but following those kinds of directions and naming files appropriately, the reason that I'm having you do that, just to reiterate, is because one of the things in web development and analytics is the necessity to have files named in an appropriate way, in a very specific way. And if you don't follow those protocols, you end up breaking links, which breaks your website. So this was one of the practice mechanisms for doing that. So some of you found that when you uploaded your analytics documents, you got a 0. And the reason you got a 0, if you go into your grade book, if you got a 0, we are noting why you're getting those grades, but a lot of you that got zeros, it was because your file names were not named correctly. So let's make sure that we correct that so that we don't get a 0 moving forward, and that would be great. The other thing that I wanted to note is that I really encourage you to watch all of the videos before uh, emailing me and asking me questions, because a lot of you guys are emailing me and then 5 minutes later emailing me back and saying, oh wait a minute, it's in the other video. So especially with my videos, not necessarily the Analytics Academy, but my videos are meant to be watched sequentially. So as you watch all of them, I think you'll answer a lot of your questions yourself. The other thing is I've had a request to upload all these videos to YouTube. While I'm not going to go back and do that, I will, moving forward, upload all of them to my YouTube account so that you guys can view them in slow motion and rewind and fast forward and do whatever you need to do with them. So just as an added bonus, I guess. All right, so let's move into what you see up on your screen here. Let's talk a little bit about the project and the next part of the project. So what you're seeing on your screen is the part 1, pre-Google Analytics analysis. And this terminology is mine. You'll see one of the videos this week is going over all of the mechanisms and steps for developing a strategy and kind of attacking a website's analysis. But this is our own class strategy. So part 1, the pre-Google Analytics analysis, this is not a recommendation section. So I wanted to kind of make that really clear. I want you to stay very objective throughout this section. So for example, after a search of X, the following results were returned. And then you can insert a screenshot, for example. And then you say, based on this result, our company was ranked in spot 4 with the headline of ABC News, or whatever the headline was. The result should contain the primary website, but instead it contains a non-conversion page, which is why. So to kind of translate that for you, one of the things that we found on the Mercyhurst site, and this was the last web redesign, so we found that our IRB, Institutional Review Board, website was ranking very high. And Institutional Review Board is really an internal website. What we found is that it was ranking high because it was well written, it was well done, lots of keywords, but it also had a lot of incoming links from other universities who were using it. So there's reasons behind it, but it wasn't one of the ones that if you search for Mercyhurst, our IRB site coming up wasn't exactly what we were looking for. And so my report would read something like, after a search of Mercyhurst University, or at the time college, the following results were returned. And what I would do is I would list out, mercyhurst.edu/academics, mercyhurst.edu/IRB, mercyhurst.edu/athletics, so on and so forth. And I might actually actually insert the screenshot of what I found when I searched Google, or I might search Google, Bing, Yahoo, and maybe another search engine. And then I would say, based on this result, Mercyhurst University was ranked in spot 1 through 10 because I searched directly for our company name. with the headlines of, and I might list some of our headlines. Now, what you don't want to do is list all 10, especially if you're searching for your actual organization name. But if I search for academics, or if I search for top quality academics in the Northeast, or something along those lines, and again, you can you'll see in your steps here that you can choose some different keywords that would make sense to your consumers. But in those cases, if I said top quality academics in Erie, Pennsylvania, and we came up in spot 4, you'd say Mercyhurst University was ranked in spot 4 with the headline of Mercyhurst Academics or Mercyhurst Academic Success. And then that's very meaningful, so that you have that. So you'll put that in there, and then you'd say the results should contain, for example, if it wasn't what you wanted, we would want to rank high in academics. But again, let's say it was the IRB. You would want to say the results should contain mercyhurst.edu, but instead it contains a non-conversion page. Non-conversion pages would be pages that aren't going to help us get students. So non-conversion page like mercyhurst.edu/IRB. And then I would put a period. Don't tell me what you're going to do to fix it at this point. And actually in all of these steps, you're not going to tell me what you're going to do to fix the issues that you find. You're simply going to tell me what you found. Now, and I mentioned this within these steps, but you're probably going to want to also keep a notebook or some document where you do make those recommendations, because in step 5 of your report, you're going to need to make those recommendations. And so you don't want to forget. The term will go on for another 9 weeks or so. So you don't want to forget what those recommendations are. So kind of keep that in mind as you go through. Step 1, there's actually 8 steps to this. Step 1 is what we'd consider an overall analysis. You're going to run an analysis tool like tools.quicksprout.com. And this is a really neat tool. It gives you kind of a really broad picture of the website. In one of our videos this week, I give you a whole list of tools, and so I encourage you to use as many as possible, and then use those findings that you will find in those tools or from those tools to help you answer some of these steps or help you go through some of these steps. But one of the ones that I like is this quicksprout.com. So you're going to analyze and understand SEO and speed issues on the site. You're going to report the findings in the appropriate sections below. A couple of the tools that I provide you this week will also be competitive analysis or competitive intelligence. And so you might actually find some information that you then want to go back to your client background under that competitive intel section and add back in some more information. Some of that information, is going to be really generic. I'm just guessing. I haven't read the reports, but the reports that you gave me this week, I'm guessing you did on your own. Just as a quick blush, I looked at Gannon's website and they seem to have really neat and interesting content. Well, some of these tools that I'm going to provide you are going to dig a little bit deeper into exactly what they offer. Step 2, you're going to run a search engine report, and so you're going to start with simple searches. I would suggest searching for your company name. Okay, then you're going to run at least 5 other searches, or 5 searches total. So company name would definitely be one. But think about searches that prospective students would be looking for, because again, that's the purpose of our website, right? Prospective students finding what they want, and then of course applying and enrolling at the university. So 5 searches that a typical 17-year-old would be searching for. Check the title and description once you get those searches. How do they appear on the search engine results page? And so remember that they're going to be different based on your search. We learned that a couple weeks ago or last week. We learned that if you're logged into Google and you search for Mercyhurst University, your results page are going to look different than if I search for Mercyhurst University based on our sign-ins and our previous histories and things like that. So ensure that the information is correct for optimal for persuading people to click on your results. So if you search for academics at Mercyhurst and you get some wonky athletics webpage, that's not optimal for persuading people, because if all we talk about is athletics, and we have a lot of student athletes, but they're student athletes, not just athletes, they're looking for information on academics, but when they search for athletics, all they see is, or when they search for academics, all they see is athletics. That's not what we want. So I hope that makes sense. In your report, you're going to list what you searched for, the ranking of that from that search. So where did Mercyhurst come up in that ranking? Again, organic searches for Mercyhurst University, we should be in the top. I hope we're in all 10. If Gannon is appearing, I should probably know that. Or if Allegheny's showing those kinds of things, I'd want to know that. But, so list the search, the ranking, and the result. What did you find? And you, of course, can use screenshots. You'll find that throughout all of these reports, you're going to use a lot of screenshots. So get used to doing that. Now, accessibility is really important for websites, and so you're going to, or someone on your team is going to download and use the checklists at w3.org. Those are the standards for accessibility. And so I think this is part of your reading one week, and if it wasn't, it will be this week. So go ahead and take a look at those. Now, I do give you a caution here. It says right here, don't worry about completing any tasks that seem complicated or use unfamiliar terminology. So if you're reading something and you're like, I have absolutely no idea what this means, that's okay. Just use what you can, what you know and you understand, within reason, guys, okay? So, oh, I don't know what that means. Well, we'll try to understand it, but I also understand that there's a lot of really detailed content that you might not be able to wrap your mind around. What the point of the accessibility step is to see if we're using the big parameters of accessibility. And again, you'll find out what those are after reading that the website. Inbound links, as we've talked about before, inbound links are the currency of search rankings, right? So the more websites that link to us, and the better those websites are, the higher our ranking is when people search for certain terms. So we value inbound links, and so you're going to use some of the tools that I provided you in this week to evaluate the incoming links from other websites. Give me a report of who's linking to you, and do any of the sites that are linking to us, do they use anchor text in their linking? Anchor text would be Mercyhurst University, not click here to see the website, right? So what kind of anchor text are they using to link to us? And again, you'll find that we have thousands, I think like 4,000 pages linking to us. You do not, please, dear Lord, do not link all of them. Do not list them all in your report. So pick the top 10. And you might want to report maybe number 15 because it's really valuable for whatever reason. But again, explain who's linking to us, maybe a screenshot of the link top sites linking to us and how many sites are linking to us, and then what text. So click on the link, see what text is actually linking into Mercyhurst. Keyword placement, you're going to review Mercyhurst's site, look at the pages that are about specific ideas or topics, so like academics again, or maybe some of our big majors like Intel. Have they used keywords in prominent text areas of the site, like the title text, the headline, headings, body copy? Okay, so use the stuff that you learned in the chapters that you read this week. What are the big pieces that the search engines really pull from? And I'll review that in one of the lectures this week as well. Keyword analysis, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail here, but I gave you some pretty explicit instructions. You're going to look at a comparison between your site and sites that are ranking ahead of you for those key phrases. So don't reinvent the wheel. The key phrases that you used for search earlier in the steps, use those search phrases throughout this whole process, okay? So don't be too general in your keyword selection. 3 or 4 words is probably important. And then it goes through about creating some spreadsheets, dividing some keywords into a typical decision cycle. And again, what you're going to want to do is go back and read this after you've watched the videos because it'll make more sense. Okay, and so you're going to use Google Insights for timing charts. I'm just giving you a hint there. We'll talk about Google Insights in a little bit. Content is a big section as well. You're going to ask yourself a lot of questions. Now again, don't dip into the recommendations. These are just questions that you're going to have kind of in your mind as you're reviewing content. And obviously, guys, you're not reviewing all of the content on the website. So pick some big pages and take a look at this. And what you're trying to give me is a snapshot, an overview, some of the top level pages. Think about me as your chief marketing officer, and you are one of the marketing managers in charge of a website. I said, hey, can you go out and take a look at the site and tell me what you think? Okay, so you're just giving me a snapshot. Do not make this exhaustive. It's not meant to be. Now, if you actually were in charge of the website, I'd expect it to be a little bit more exhaustive, or for you to be working on this over time. But you're trying to give me examples of, hey, look at this. This is really good content here. Or hey, look at this. This is really not what we're looking for. and I gave you lots of questions to sift through. Again, some of this is based on your reading and some of it's listed here. So that's content. The step 7, you're going to look at readability. You're going to look at headlines. You're going to look at breaking up content. You're going to look at making sure that it's not reading like brochureware. You're going to test do a little bit of testing. So you're going to have to go out and find some people to take a look at the content. And actually, you do that not only in this section here, but step 8 is all about customer testing. So if you want to go ahead and move that into step 8, you don't have to do these, and nor in your report should it be listed step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. You can use the headings I've provided you like this, but the customer testing, you might have them test some earlier things as well. But the checklist for your reviewers in the customer testing, obviously if you're going to have a captive audience, please feel free to use them for more than one thing. But the customer testing is really meant to having a customer go through your website kind of blindly. So this is going to be tough, guys, because you're going to need to find somebody who isn't all that familiar with the website. I'm hoping that you have maybe a friend of yours who's in high school, or maybe a cousin or someone like that. And what you're going to do, this is not a large-scale production. This does not have to be statistically significant. And again, it's not exhaustive. But you're going to provide a person with a task to complete on your website. Once again, think in terms of a prospective student. What are they going to be looking for, right? So typical task. Find the communication, find information about majoring in communication, or figure out how to apply. And what you're going to do is you're actually going to watch them do this, okay? And so that's key. You're going to watch them do this. This can't be, hey, Junior, can you go on my website and do this for me and tell me what you did? You actually have to sit there and watch how they move through the site. The other hard thing for some of us is that you can't say anything. You can't make gestures. You can't, point up there into the corner. Oh, there's the apply button. You're not doing any of that. You're just sitting and observing. And if they ask you questions, you say, it's whatever it means to you. Or you say things like, do the best that you can and try to find it. Okay, and you're going to write down the results. You're going to record the results. How many clicks did they have to do? Did they go to the search box? Just tell me what you found. And again, so in this section, you're going to describe what you asked them to do. So the user was asked to find information about majoring in communication. First, the user did this. Then the user did that. Then the user did whatever, right? So you're going to walk me through the process. Okay, this is going to help inform some of your recommendations a little bit later. Okay, so those are the 8 steps for this week. Again, just to recap briefly, you do not need to write this section in the order per se that I've listed. In fact, if you take a look, sorry for the scrolling, but if you take a look at this overall analysis, it wouldn't even make sense to have a step 1 in your report because this overall analysis is going to feed into all these other areas. Would it make sense to have accessibility as a heading? Probably. Would it make sense to have inbound links? Possibly. Keyword? Sure. Content? Yes. Right? So some of these are going to make sense, but you might have subheadings. So again, don't be restricted by what I've put up here in terms of headings. It was to organize you guys more so than anything else. Okay. If you have any questions on the report, please let me know. One of the things I am considering doing is pushing back the deadline on this report, just because I think this is the first week we're really starting to get into some meaty content. I want to make sure it's done correctly. So if I do push back the deadline, I will shoot you guys out an email letting you know that. But go ahead and get started on this. This is not something that you probably are going to be able to do in a night, and make sure that, of course, you're hitting the deadline. Again, once again, 1 report per group, okay? So I don't want to get individual emails from each group member, so make sure that I'm getting 1 report uploaded on Blackboard for all of you guys. Okay, we'll talk to you soon.